This is Ashish R. Bidekar, and welcome to my podcast, The ARB Show. I'm super thrilled to introduce today's guest, Guy. Guy is the founder and creative director at Umalt, an agency that makes B2B video marketing you want to watch. Seriously, I saw a couple of their ads on LinkedIn in the context of how videos can be used for B2B communication, and I just had to reach out to them. Guy has been making commercial videos for over 20 years and is the author of Debt to the Corporate Video, a modern approach that works. He started the agency in 2010 after a decade of working in TV, film, and radio. Over to you, Guy. Do share your life journey and your vision for Umalt. Thank you.
Well, thanks for having me, Ashish. I really appreciate it.
Great.
Yeah, so I guess today we're talking about, I've got 5 insights for B2B video ads, but really this is 5 insights for almost making anything creative. It's pretty fundamental because I find that, especially when procuring creative or going about making creative, there's a lot of common pitfalls that people make. And I've been making them for 13 years, so I can share with you some ways to avoid pain.
Right. No, that would be great. In fact, many times people assume that B2B has to be stiff upper lip, serious, and you really can't have any fun. You can't have any humor, but you proved them wrong. And in fact, when I saw a couple of your videos and we were just talking about them, it was outstanding, especially the one on Oppenheimer. It was outstanding. So anyway, what would be the first insight or the first step you would like to talk about B2B video ads?
Sure. My first insight is always ask yourself, is it pizza? And let me explain. So I did like a consulting or I did a class for communicators, and in this case it was internal communication teams from around the country, and one of the people in the class told me something that I'll never forget, and they said, Guy, guess what our number one article on our intranet. So they ran like the intranet, like when you open up your browser, like they have little company articles about the company. So it's like a website, a news website for the company. It was a big insurance company. And they said, Guy, guess what the number one article we've ever had? And they made great videos featuring, like health outcomes and stories about their company. So I figured it since it was insurance, it was health insurance, I figured it had to do something with an emotional story that tug on heartstrings about some time they donated something or did something good for the community. And they're like, no, the number one article, the number one piece of content by a long shot was an announcement that pizza would be available in the cafeteria system-wide 5 days a week. And when you think about it, you're like, of course that's the number one article, because that's actually useful information. And you know who it serves? It serves the person reading it. It's something that they would actually want to know, because everybody loves pizza. Worldwide, everyone loves pizza. So I find a lot of companies don't ask this question. A lot of companies make stuff that is actually not meant for anyone but the company itself. So they make these long, that's where like one of the causes of long corporate bad B2B videos is that the videos act like a laundry list of the 50 things we wanted to say. But it's not pizza. It's not anything anyone else would want to enjoy. It's stuff that feels good for them because they got to say all 50 points, and they feel like everyone's like taking notes watching their video. Like nobody's taking notes watching your video. So what you have to do is ask yourself, is the video itself, forget the message, is the video itself as interesting as pizza is available? You will never get as interesting as pizza is available, by the way. It's like one of those, like in math, those limit functions where like you can get to the curve, but you infinitely get close, you never meet it. Because you'll never be as interesting as pizza, ever.
True. That's a very valid point, because many times, and that is bang on target. We are inward looking, and we feel that the customers would also look at our offerings the way we are looking at it, right? So as you said, we have a laundry list of 10 things we want to talk of the product, and hey, you know what? All the 10 things should go into the communication as a check mark, and that's how we assume that the customer also perceives it. But maybe it's one, and I think Apple gives a great example, right, where they really don't talk about the huge feature list or specification, but just one thing. Make it simple, make it engaging, and make it interesting to remember. But I really like your pizza thing. That's something which you should always remember. What would be the second tip from you?
Second tip is that remember that anything creative, now I'm talking about B2B video ads, but this is really anything creative. It's a two-step process, and there's two distinct steps. And I'm oversimplifying, obviously it's many steps, but two main huge like buckets of steps. One step, the first step is thinking, the second step is doing. So put it this way, if I was to make a custom house, I wouldn't call a carpenter and just have the carpenter start winging it. The first thing I would do is engage an architect. The architect is going to ask questions like, tell me about your lifestyle. What are your goals? How do you like to live? Do you like nature? Do you not like nature? They're going to ask questions that are very, very high level, extremely high level. They're going to then draw up the plans and in a blueprint and then hand them off to the carpenter and the plumber and all that stuff, the actual people who make it. And then the carpenter and plumber and electrician refer to the blueprints, and that's what they create, right? A lot of brands are essentially going right to carpenters. They go, let's make a video ad. Great. Let's go right to the carpenter. Let's call a video production company and just do it. And then they wonder why it didn't work. So the insight here is you need to focus on the architect step first, the idea step. And that's with either working through a creative agency or like us, we're a video ad agency, so we emphasize the thinking. But this isn't an ad for Umalt, but the idea is you need to put emphasis on the concept, on the script, on the idea first, and then the execution, that's second.
Right. Also, would you say that many a times the CMO or whoever is in charge, he's the highest paid individual in the room, so his opinion, right, because he practically knows how the video ad should be directed, what should be the message, etc., and many a times creative agency just have to nod and agree with whatever he's saying because he's the guy with the budget. And at the end of the story, no one's happy, right? Because the commercial didn't achieve the objectives, there was no brand recall, the CMO is getting beaten with a stick as to what's the ROI on investment. Those are the things. So also what I hear you say is that leave the job to the professionals. From a client, would you advise that the clients kind of stick to what they really want to achieve, then hand it over as a blueprint to the creative process, and then let the pros do the work? Is that what you would recommend always, or you would really want the client to get in touch or be a part of the creative process as well?
It all depends. I think the client's responsibility, the brand's responsibility, is to come to an agency with a clear set of goals. You wouldn't believe the number of clients we have that don't even have that. When I ask, like, what are your goals? What do you want to do with this? They think it's going to like solve every issue. It's just like solve the business. Like, no. Like have a specific set of realistic goals. That's the minimum thing you need to work with an agency like us. What we always ask clients is, it's okay if you have ideas, but what we're going to do is go through our process of creative strategy and not go into the engagement with any preconceived creative concepts. We want to kind of dispassionately move through the process that starts with the strategy. Who are we talking to? What do we need to say? If your ideas, after we go through that process, if your ideas make sense for that strategy, sure, we'll consider them and, you know, maybe even do one. In a couple cases, we've done client ideas, but it's after going through our process. So I think if you're a brand, put your brainstorming power and your creative power into a clear set of realistic goals. And if you have KPIs that can correspond to those, and also, you know, a big responsibility of the client is to understand what your distribution strategy for the B2B video ad is. And even if you don't have a strategy, tell that to us. It's okay if no strategy is your strategy, because then we'll help you. But that's another big mistake I see a lot of companies make, is they focus on the actual video ad and then zero on getting it seen. And then guess what? It doesn't get seen. So as a client, I would say, yeah, focus on your goals, and then how are you going to get this seen?
Wow, excellent. What would be the third insight which you would like to share?
The third one is that no one wants to watch an ad. So you're like, wait, you own an ad agency? Like, that's crazy. Like, yeah, no one wants to watch an ad. So let me just put it this way. You're on YouTube or you're watching, sports on TV, and an ad with the biggest superstar, Taylor Swift or Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. An ad with the biggest superstar comes on TV or before your YouTube video. And they spent like $10 million on this thing. There's cars flying through space. There's so much cool VFX work. I mean, this thing took millions of dollars, like 500 people, hours and thousands of hours of time. But it doesn't matter. You're still clicking skip ad and counting down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. When you are watching TV and the ads come, you're like, okay, cool, we can go to the bathroom now. No one wants to watch ads. No one wants, the key word is wants. No one wants to watch ads. Okay. So what do we do then? It's from that assumption that we have to start all creative thinking. We have to assume the original sin of advertising is that no one wants to watch these things. So what do we do to counteract that? We have to make them want to watch them. We have to make them interesting. We cannot just advertise and just bark stuff at people because no one wants to watch them. What we need to do is entertain. We need to come with it from an entertainment angle. So how do you make someone want to watch it is by serving them, by giving them pizza, entertaining them in the moment. But you say, but wait a second, there's still tons of Acura ads on TV and paper towel ads and ads for banks. Yes, and they're still effective. You know how they get people to watch them? They pay. They pay a lot of money. They get them seen on TV over and over and over. So they know that no one wants to watch them, but they force themselves upon them. So this comes with this assumption also leads into distribution. So if you assume that no one wants to watch ads, right? And you have zero budget for distribution, zero budget for paid media, then you really cannot make an ad, like a true ad where it's just all about features and benefits and all that stuff. You have to make something that's really entertaining, almost like the Matomo Guggenheimer spot, where you didn't know it was an ad. It was just a piece of content. It was like a funny skit, right? If you have no money for distribution, you have to focus on content marketing. If you do have a ton of money, like Acura, like Honda, like Toyota, whatever, right? If you have a ton of money for distribution, then you can make an advertisement that talks about features and benefits and just goes right for the punch, right? Because we're paying to get it seen. But in both cases, we're assuming that no one wants to watch these things, and that influences the way we make them and then the way we distribute them.
Wow, these are some very basic fundamental things which kind of really shake the foundation of all B2B communications, right? Because I guess the lesson here is don't assume what your customer or your audience is wants to do or will do, right? So back to the basics from initial, and build your story. Excellent. What would be the fourth insight which you'd like to share?
The fourth insight is that we need to change the way, and this goes along with the two-step process idea of thinking first and doing second, but we need to change the way we budget for, actually, and again, I'm talking about B2B video ads, but this could be about anything creative, websites, anything. We need to change the way we budget for these things. So a lot of times what we'll do, brands will do this, is they'll say, well, to save money, we'll come up with the idea and then just pay for the production, right? Or we'll come up with the wireframes to the website and then just hire a developer to do it for us. Actually, I would reverse that entirely. Like if I had $10,000 to spend to make a video ad and I'm a brand, what I would do, and this is 100% true, I'm not exaggerating this. If I had 10,000, most brands would just pay for a video production company to make the ad, right? For 10 grand. What I would do is hire a really amazing copywriter and storyboard and art director and pay them $8,000 to come up with a script and storyboards, and then even do the production on my iPhone for $2,000. So in the case of that film Possessed that went viral, that I think you saw, you can go on our site and on our YouTube and watch Possessed. Just type in Possessed Umalt, Umault, and you'll see it. That is, since it was done for us, we don't spend a lot of money on the production when it's just our thing, right? That's my house. We only had 3 actors. It's just myself and a DP, and a makeup artist. That's it. So we had no crew. We were just doing it just very like kids, like just having fun. So the total amount of production I spent on that was nothing, virtually nothing. What everyone loves about that is no one has complimented, out of the 100 of compliments, no one has said, wow, your 3/4 backlight is really good there. I really like the way you framed up that shot at 47 seconds and the lens was really good there. Is that a 42 millimeter? No one said that. They're all saying, wow, I wish I came up with this idea. Oh man, this idea, wow. They'll mention a line. Oh, the email line. That's so good. They're mentioning everything that had to do with the creative, not the production. It's the Pareto principle. 80% of what makes your creative work good or your video ads good, 80% is the idea, is the script, is all the creative stuff. 20% is the production, right? I don't want to totally poo-poo production, because in the end, those actors had to bring those words to life. In the end, the editing had to do it all. But if they were just reading a terrible script of an awful idea, it doesn't matter how good the production is. So budget for creative. I'd rather you spend your entire budget on a script and a storyboard and then you do it than the other way. of like you doing the creative and then sending it to a really good production company to get it done, because all they're going to do is make well-made, stuff. Again, you may be ultra creative. I don't want to this doesn't, a lot of times brands themselves do come up with good ideas, but for the most part, I think you need to trust and go out and get a really amazing creative to make your ad.
Right. I know it's like a humorous story which I recently someone told me. It's like, you're complimenting a chef for the wonderful dishes he has created, but you don't ask, or if someone asks, "Oh, what gas stove are you using?" Right? It's similar to that, right? The skill is with the chef. That's the hard work, the training, the ability to use multiple ingredients and then cook up a meal, right? It's important. The gas stove is important because otherwise it won't cook. But that's not the highlight. That's not the hero of the overall thing. So fantastic. That's and as you rightly mentioned, it's an insight which is relevant even for all creative endeavors. What would be your final insight?
My final insight is that to be brave. So Lee Clow, famous creative director of Apple's campaigns and stuff, he said, "Don't do the right thing, do the brave thing." And my way of rephrasing this, which I 100% agree, my way of rephrasing this is, so there's a very famous musical, Hamilton. I'm not sure if you've seen it or heard of it. It's about one of our Revolutionary War heroes, Alexander Hamilton. And in the musical, there's two lead characters, Alexander Hamilton and then Aaron Burr. Aaron Burr is the guy who eventually kills him. And they're both politicians. Alexander Hamilton wanted to speak his mind, and it actually got him killed in the end. Aaron Burr wanted everyone to like him. So Aaron Burr once gave Alexander Hamilton advice, and Aaron Burr said, talk less, smile more. Don't let them know what you're against or what you're for. I mean, that's not the words in real life. That's from the musical. So Aaron Burr takes the approach of actually many, I would say 90% of brands. Talk less, smile more. Don't let them know what you're against or what you're for. Meaning, let us say the most, like, we care about our customers. We have the best stuff. Like all the generic things, right? Aaron Burr acts like 90% of brands, where Alexander Hamilton, he didn't care how he polarized people. He needed to speak his truth. So Alexander Hamilton was more like Apple, or Southwest Airlines or Ryanair, where it's like, this is the way we are. If you like it, great, come aboard. If you don't, we're not for you. Sorry. Ryanair, I would say, is the perfect example of this. It's like, you want to charge for bathrooms? Yeah. Yes, we do. And the people who fly Ryanair would appreciate it, because then the prices are cheaper. We can get them where they want to go for cheaper. So it's like, they don't care that they're polarizing. And the more they polarize, the more people really love them. They become a loved brand. And obviously, it's not to 100% of the people, right? Like Apple's market share in the PC world, I don't know, is it even above 20% at this time? Probably not, right? But the people that love Apple, like me, love Apple. I got iPhone, I got my computer, I got my monitor, I got everything. iPad's back here.
Right.
So be more like Alexander Hamilton. You need to be brave. You need to say the thing that your competitors won't say. Or the way to, if that's difficult, is focus on the thing that truly makes you different. So like, forget table stakes in your industry. Go for the thing that's truly different and like really highlight that, because that's what your competitor can't say. If you truly are better than your competitor in one area or two areas, Go for that. Don't focus on all the white noise stuff, all the table stakes stuff. So be okay being different. That's the main idea, is like you need to take a brave step in going where others won't.
Right. I mean, it's essentially all about focus, right? Because as a brand, you can't be everything to everyone, right? So
No.
that's great. So I mean, that was really a very interesting discussion. So let me ask a couple of more questions since we have some time. So there could be ads which you have created and which you really loved, right? And there would be ads which you did not love that much, but that really created a great impact for the client, for the business. So any examples which you could give for both?
Oh, wow. A client piece that I love that didn't work.
Yeah.
I will talk in terms of our ads. So
Yeah, of
Umal,
course.
we make a lot of ads for ourselves. We try to put out at least one every 2 months, right? And the way I see it is we use ourselves as a guinea pig, because I'm not, I'm a risk taker. I'm a gambler. When we go to Vegas, Ashish, I'm going to take you on a good time, man. We're going to go on the tables, and I love risk. So that's why I like to experiment on our own brand, so then I can bring those insights to the clients, right? So I'll tell you the piece that I love that has had very little impact. The piece that I love that has little impact on our company is, let me go to my YouTube real quick, because I think I know what it is. Give me a second. Piece I love that has had little impact. Oh, easy. I have this piece called Space Kids with my 2 daughters. I started it in August of 2020. We were bored. It was the pandemic. I had nothing to do, there was no business being done. So I made a little spaceship set in my basement and launched them into space, and it was like a funny little thing about parents sending their kids to space because we were stuck with the kids. And the year I put it out, it actually went pretty viral, and it actually did have an impact on our company. But then every year since, I've added on to the spot, and so at this point now it's like a 2-minute short film, and I'm going to add on another 1.5 minutes to it. So right now, next month it's going to come out. It's 4 minutes. I will say that after that first year, every time I put it out, it only gets 100 views. So it has no impact on the business, but it allows me to have fun, put kids into space, continue this story, obviously, put my kids on film and have fun. So even though it doesn't have a business impact, to me, it's like very therapeutic because I get to be creative with my kids. The spot that I don't love that has a huge impact on our business is this. It's not that I don't love it, but I didn't think that it would, be what it is. It's the spot called Milk First. It's on our YouTube. And it's this woman who is, in a kitchen, and she says, not building your B2B brand is as weird as pouring milk into your cereal first, right? So usually you put cereal, then the milk on top. She pours the milk first, and then the cereal second. And I'm like, to me, that was like a throwaway thing. But it is our number one ad on LinkedIn when we try to target cold traffic, right. Cold people who have never heard of us. Oh my gosh, it beats out all other creative. And I try to change in the LinkedIn targeting and everything to serve up other stuff, but it doesn't matter. Like, it always wins. It always wins. I have no idea why. I can't tell you why it wins. And this is actually an insight for companies. That's why it's like no one knows. Like, it's just crazy. You think something would be great and it doesn't do great. You think something is just whatever and it does great. I'll tell you another example. I don't know if you've seen the Sunset, the GA4 parody we did.
Yeah.
That's a parody of Last of Us. I'm being 100% honest. As I was uploading that, I was like, no one's going to like this. I just wasted thousands of dollars and tons of hours of time making this thing. And like, who is going to want to think about GA4? So as I'm hitting upload, I'm like, failure. And that thing blew up. That thing was crazy successful. So it's like, that's why you have to have bravery. You just have to try things and see what happens. Stop going for all the safe plays. Because you know what? If you go for safe, as you're uploading and you're like, I feel perfectly fine about this, it means that it's most likely going to have no impact because it didn't like stand for anything. It wasn't like, you know, like Hamilton. It didn't say anything.
Exactly.
So you should have a little bit of butterflies as you hit, you know, send on your email list.
Yeah.
You know, obviously do your due diligence. You know, you shouldn't be taking reckless risks, but you know, risk taking is part of this.
Right. No, I think that's also a life lesson. You know, there's a famous quote. It's better to say I tried and failed rather than say, oh, I wish I had done that. Right. So it's the same. So great. So fantastic guy. This really gives a great perspective and a good, principles, top five principles and insight for any creative thinking. And thank you, dear listeners, for tuning in. Do subscribe, share, and like this podcast. Bye for now. Talk to you soon.